I always love to apply ABL. I know product-based businesses always be launching. We know that that is like a rule of thumb. But how about all of us, ABL, always be learning? There's so much great information that we can use to apply to our businesses that are going to be so beneficial. And let's be honest, if it can help us grow our revenues, that's really good stuff. So apply the ABL, always be learning.
Are you leveraging tools like AI to its maximum potential to grow your business and thrive this year? If you're not, my friend, we have you covered. I'm your host, Natalie Benamou, and every week on Women Leaders on the Move, I bring you interesting guests and ideas to help you advance your careers forward. I'm also the founder of Her C-Suite, where we are supporting women like you in a community with masterminds, retreats, and conferences. Check it all out at hercsuite.com. Today's guest is Carlyn Bushman. I learn so much from her every time I have the amazing opportunity to speak with her. She is the CEO of CMB Brands, and we're going to be talking and unraveling everything you need to know about AI and how it will help you, regardless if you're an entrepreneur, a leader, you're planning your next move. We've got you covered. So let's get started with this conversation now. Carlyn, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move today. Thanks for being on the show.
Natalie, it's always wonderful to see you and a delight to be able to be on the show with you today as well.
And I love all the ways that our lives have intersected in the realm of entrepreneurs, entreprenista. Now, Her C-Suite, you've come into Her C-Suite, and I got to take one of your courses, which was phenomenal. But our listeners may not know all the things. So can you share a little bit about you and the amazing things you're up to? Because I think our listeners would like to know.
As you might guess, educating entrepreneurs in business is one of my passions. Absolutely. I feel like the more you know and making decisions in your own business as the CEO of your business leads to more confidence, quicker decision making, and ultimately success in your business. So my whole passion and mission is to provide that education through, of course, collegiate style courses that I offer online, workshops, and then private consulting, and also inside of my digital agency side of my business. So I really like to meet founders where they are. And specifically, the sooner I can meet you for that education and to provide those services to you, the better, right? Because what I see happen, Natalie, is so often you get burned out and you burn through cash simultaneously. Therefore, the more you know sooner, specifically on your financials, the better.
It is a roller coaster ride for entrepreneurs getting started and going through all these different things. What are some of the things that you're seeing today? Because the things are so different in the world constantly. We're in a constant change cycle right now. What are you seeing as some of the trends for entrepreneurs to watch over some of those financials?
It really depends. And I think the most obvious is when you're talking to anybody who's a product based business. I know you and I are service based businesses. However, I serve quite a few product based businesses. So, of course, the whiplash that's going on currently in our economic environment as that leads to changing in the manufacturing tariffs, things like that. So, addressing that. And what I see a lot is fear. And the first response is, well, I'm just going to have to shut it down, or I don't have an option, or what does that look like for me? So, doing the math with your numbers and actually having a spreadsheet, which is my love language, and looking at your cost of goods sold, or for the service based businesses, some of the things that are factoring into the costs of doing business, but you can't do that if you don't put it into something like a dashboard or a spreadsheet.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be super complicated. I think people get afraid when you think, oh, I am afraid of the numbers, so I'm just going to close my eyes. Bad idea.
Slam the laptop. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen people just shut their laptop.
I mean, it is not as complicated as people are fearful of. And once you know what you're working with, then you can start to make a plan. Because if you are in a product-based business, and you are getting hit with some of these unexpected expenses, well, what are some alternative revenue streams? Some of the things that we talk about in her C suite, which you came in and talked to our group about, our cohort of women, is really understanding and having multiple revenue streams. So you're not so reliant perhaps on that one thing. And maybe there's some consulting you can do in addition to the products that you're selling or other things. What are some of the things that you're seeing as an alternative, or are they integrating into some of the ways that they're looking at things today?
I think what happens a lot, and I'm not sure, I would say it's just happening because of what's going on now, but it's a lot easier to make sales when everything's going well, right? It's a lot easier to do that, you know? Here's what's so interesting, Natalie. We think we know what our customers or our consumers or our clients want. We think they want a dashboard. We think they want X. We think that. Well, why don't we ask them, just like you're asking me right now? So, as an example, I just literally got off a call with a prospective client, and she has a high ticket service that she offers, and she only has so much time in her day, week, or month, right? So her service is her time. That's basically what it is. And as she's watched the economy kind of change, she has some of the mid level people that can no longer work with her because it was a high ticket item. So we are really brainstorming, what is that middle tier? What is something else? Like you said, what's another revenue stream that makes sense? And one of the biggest things you want to do is go ask, how can I serve you? What does that look like for you? What are you looking for today? Right? What would help you? When I have my college style course, Pop Academy, in the spring and fall, I do offer scholarships. I typically ask prospective scholarship applicants, what could you pay now? Or what would work for you now? That's part of the scholarship process. So as service-based businesses, it's okay to ask, and then create or craft something that it's going to meet the needs of your clients and where they are today, both in affordability and maybe from their time schedule as well.
I think being flexible with payment is probably one of the biggest things that really impacts what is possible. And I'll give you an example. I'm doing a book. I'm going to be in another anthology and self-publishing, so there's costs. And being flexible with people and saying, you know what, you don't have to pay everything up front. Let's work it out so that it works for you. And that enabled me to have some really amazing women come in that otherwise they were like, well, I might not be able to do it because of this time frame. It's right at tax season. So there might be some expenditures. So just really understanding and asking that question, like you said, like, what would work for you? Is it time? Well, then there's sometimes you can't do much about that. But if price is a factor, then maybe there's something creative you can do to lengthen the runway a little bit, right?
Yes. And what I'm not saying is to lower your prices.
Right. I didn't say that either.
Right. I know. And I think I want to make that clear for everyone. We're not saying lower your prices. You still have your high ticket offer, right? That makes all the sense in the world. If you have something you can offer that meets them where they are, and does it have to be you that executes it? Is it something digital? And I want to lean into, when we're talking about money, we're talking about finances, we're talking about what do we do in this, in this economy, or being prepared. We also have to look at expenses. So, how are you managing your expenses? Because at the end of the day, you have your top line revenue, but that could be going really, really well. But if your labor costs are 80% or 90%, then there's not much left for your general and administrative costs. So you could be in the red, right? Or you're not making much money. We talked a little bit about, before we jumped on today, how AI can really help you in that expense management side.
I use AI every day, multiple times, constantly now because I've trained my AI. I don't have a name yet. I need a name for my AI, but I use ChatGPT, the professional, which everyone listening, it is worth the $20. Pay the $20. It's worth it because it gives you the opportunity to create these personal voice. You get your brand, it gets to know you. And crazily, it remembers other things you've been talking to about, and then it starts to bring that in. So, what are some of the things? Because I took your course and I loved it and I learned so I had so many aha moments in that day. I was like, wow, I never knew about that. So, what are some things that you have seen recently? Because it changes all the time. What are you using now that you are really excited about?
Okay, this is how quick it moves, right? So, from the time I taught the course and I really focused on strategies and dashboards and delegation, and I still do, I still use it for my strategies and how do I measure? So, if you're going to set up your 2 to 3 strategies, which I'm very passionate about limiting the number of things you think you can get done or want to get done in a year, what are your strategies for 2025? Then I go into ChatGPT as an example and I outline those strategies. It knows my business and I ask it to help me set up some very well defined KPIs, key performance indicators, to know that I'm making progress on those strategies. And you can ask it to do it for you by month, by quarter, by week, by day, and it will create a plan for you. So at least that is a great starting point for me, just from a high level visual aspect of my business. So that's one area. Then you can also create a SOP. So let's say you bring somebody new on board, a new VA, an assistant, a social media manager, graphic designer, whoever that person might be to support you. And you can literally have a standard operating procedure created for them inside of GPT. And then it can also build a training schedule for you when you're onboarding this person. So if this person works for you 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever that might be, you tell GPT that and you say, I want 20% of their time for training and 80% of their time for execution, and it builds you a training schedule.
I had never thought of it for that. And I love this. And I get the transcript here. So I can't wait to download this and put it into ChatGPT as soon as we're done. All seriousness, because I'm going to look at this and say, oh, this is something I should be doing. I mean, my mind is going like, I could use it for that. And that's what happened when I took your course, which was it on the 31st or the 30th it was the end of the year. It was like almost the end of the year. It was
December 30th.
December 30th. And it was such a great way to feel momentum going into January, to feel this energy and hope and, coming together. It was wonderful. So I loved that experience. And I learned so much. And you're right. It's only been 3 months. I mean, every day there's something new that you're thinking about. And one of the things I didn't know you could create your own GPTs. That was something I learned. So let's talk about that. So people are listening and they're saying, okay, I don't know what I don't know. So share a little bit about that because that's fascinating to me.
Okay, so this is a great topic. I actually was using it this morning. I had a great call with a colleague, and she is really well known in the speaking and stages space. And that's something that I've done a little bit of, but not a lot. So we were talking back and forth on topics. I took the transcript of our call from this morning, put it into my custom GPT. So I have a custom GPT that is, and I'm looking at it on the other side of my screen. So if you see my eyes, that's why. And it's my copywriter. So I built a custom GPT with the help of another colleague, and I took our transcript, dropped it into my custom GPT. Now, a custom GPT, no one else can see it unless I send you the link. So only my team and myself have access to it. This GPT is set up with roughly 100 plus pages of content about who I am, who I serve, all the branding information that I could possibly unload, everything from some client testimonials to what's the curriculum I offer inside of my education, things like that. That is preset. So when I take a transcript of my conversation with this delightful human this morning out of Fathom, I put it into my custom GPT copywriter and I say, I'm thinking about building a speaker page or something to do with public speaking and serving this community. Can you help me do this from this conversation? It pulled out my voice with all the details and her response on, yeah, that would work or that wouldn't work. So it pulls the whole thing, puts it in there, and I'm looking at it on my other screen. It actually made me a one page. There's a whole bunch of activity, and then it made me a one page speaking page that I could use inside of Canva. It gave me the Canva template.
Hey, it's Natalie, and I wanted to pop in here and give you a special invitation to join me in real life at our Thrive in 2025 Women's Conference this June 25th through the 28th here in Chicago. I can't wait to meet you and have you a member of Women on the Move, because that is one of the big bonuses that I am personally giving to have you join us at the conference. Go to hercsuite.com and check out all the details today.
So yes, custom GPTs, what they do for you is you preload it and they call it priming. So you prime the GPT with information that is just relevant to you and or your team about you and your business and who you serve and your voice and your story and how long you've been in business and where you were before. So that way you're not having to do that every single time you go into GPT, because you can only get out of GPT what you put into it. So it's all about the prompt. I feel like we need t-shirts that say that, but it's true.
I haven't made my own GPT, but I will say that my general GPT now knows my voice, because I'll say, you are Natalie Benamou and you have this challenge. What would you say? And it always comes back because I've trained it. This is a more warm approach. This sounds more authentic to you. Did you like this? And it's getting kind of creepy because it's like, oh, I'm so glad you liked what I came up with you. Like, okay, it's a little bit human-like.
Right. It is. It is a little crazy, but imagine how long it would have taken for me to build a speaker page. It would have taken me a couple days, probably not just me, probably another team member. It's not perfect, but I don't have to spend time looking for a template or populating a template. Now that it's created as a benchmark for me or like a starting point, now I can play with it a little bit, right? So it still has to have your involvement. I'm not saying to delegate or abdicate completely to that, but I also think it's really helped that I can only imagine how much content you have, Natalie, that it's worth going back to look into your Google Drive or your OneDrive, if you're on Microsoft or whatever it is, Dropbox, and looking at some of your old content that's really, really good and saying, you know what, I could use a little refresh. You're still the one that created it.
100%. I have over 200 blogs because I've had 200 episodes here. And then I had 100 episodes on Rock Your Trade Show. So I have been podcasting for 7 years and I have 300 blogs. It's crazy to think about. And so I'm thinking that going back to my older voice where it was genuinely me only, because before ChatGPT, I literally would listen to every episode. There wasn't even a transcript. You just listen to the episode and write it out. So that was a very long process compared to now, where I can give the prompt and say, make it sound like me, have my voice. I don't want it to do this. I want it to do that. And it's about 80%, and then I tweak it. But 80% is so much better than from scratch.
And think about the hours you poured into that. So again, that's managing your expenses. That's managing your expenses. So now you have that extra time to serve clients, to speak to your community. You have all these opportunities to take that time and be you and be present and share with your audience all these wonderful things instead of sitting behind a computer trying to do a transcript for something where that time could be used so much more valuably.
Yes. So you've got something coming up. My mind is already going like, oh, we're going to talk about this after the show. But for our listeners, you offer this amazing opportunity to really get to know these things. And I will tell you, to our listeners, I have taken your course. And so I know firsthand, you've come into her C-suite, you came in and spoke to our members. So I've gotten multiple opportunities to experience your amazing thought process. You're hearing it today. What are you doing starting April 17th? What is the program?
Well, I've been asked. So my journey, Natalie, has been really industry agnostic, service and product based. And then I realized I was talking to a lot of product based businesses and the challenges they had. So I did a deep dive into product based businesses in 2024. And I still am serving product based businesses because there's so many levers to have to manage, from manufacturing to inventory to cost of goods sold, of course, all the things. I kept getting feedback saying, when are you going to do something for service-based businesses? It's been a hot minute. Can you drop back in? And as you know, December 30th of 24, I did a brief 2-hour workshop on really setting yourself up for 25. I decided that Q2 and Q3 are really challenging times to continue the accountability and stay focused on your strategies in a service based climate. Not as much for product, because product based businesses are gearing up for the holidays and the fall selling season and things like that. So they're laser focused on gift guides and trade shows, right? So that's keeping the product based businesses accountable to their strategies. Service based, we run into summer, kids out of school, of course, all the good things. So, how can I meet my clients where they are? And that is to offer a 6 month, once a month workshop that is solely focused on service based businesses, staying accountable through Q2 and Q3 so that you really are ready to close out your Q4 and plan for the next year during those 6 months. And it's once a month. So it keeps the time frame really nice where you can actually execute and get things done that are discussed and shared during each of those workshops.
And I think hearing from other people, you really learn in a peer environment. So I know when I hear someone else saying, well, this is where I'm stuck, it may be also where I've been stuck, but I didn't even think I was stuck there. Right. So when you hear other people's journeys, that really helps. What have you seen as part of that experience, building on each other and growing?
A lot of collaborations happen, and I don't mean just collaborations like give my Instagram post some love and I'll give yours, but truly pouring into each other. So to your point, yes, and opportunities, we get these beautiful opportunities every day or every week, and to have a platform to be able to share them immediately, right? Like timing is everything to stay engaged. So, what comes out of something like this 6 month workshop that we'll be hosting, it'll be the same group of people for all 6 months, and you'll show up and you'll have these conversations, and then you'll get your education through that as well. I've really seen women, supporting other women with such innovative ideas. And I know one of your podcasts really did talk about innovation. This is an opportunity to really come up with innovative ideas to enhance your business where you thought you might have been stuck, but you really weren't. And I really see that as such a benefit inside of this kind of a container.
Yes. And I know because you've come in, like we've talked about, into her C suite. We've had the benefit of having you be a featured speaker for our entrepreneurs and the women. We are now hyper focused in our entrepreneur mastermind on the growth piece, on this growth piece, exactly what you're talking about. Because if you aren't planning all along, you get to Q4 and you're like, wait a second, I'm never going to hustle and get it up. I can't. You're behind, right? So I love the Q2, Q3 format because that really builds you for success, not only for Q4, but into Q1 as well. One last question for you, which is looking forward, what are you most excited about this year?
Oh, well, education, education, education. I love learning. In the service based businesses, I use the word ABL, and that is always be learning. So the minute I learn about something and I start to implement it, I cannot wait to share it with my audience. So I love the opportunity to continue to educate and expand that for everyone. Gatekeeping is not in my DNA. So I like to keep that out and continue to share. So I have to say, that's what I'm super excited about. I have another college course starting in September, and that'll be 12 weeks as well. So I continue to pour into those that I can serve and continue that educational process.
Carlin, I am so glad that we met through Entreprenista. So shout out to Stephanie Carton and all of the amazing entreprenistas, which we know together. And I can't wait for our audience to learn more about you. Where should they go? Where's the first place you want them to go to find you?
Oh, I make it very, very easy. Carlyn Bushman Consulting on my website, on my Instagram, my LinkedIn. Make it super easy. I would say those three places, of course. Always follow and DM me. I answer all my messages. Leave me a voice note inside of Instagram, like or inside of LinkedIn. I love hearing your voice. So you don't have to type something or you don't have to just follow. Drop me a message. Those are the best.
I'm always learning from you, Carlin. I'm so excited that we got this chance to spend time together. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Natalie. It's always a joy to see you.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. I had so much fun talking to Carlin, and I got the benefit of talking to her before and after. And wow, my mind is blown. I hope that you will join us for her program coming up April 17th. I know I can't wait for that. If you want a continuous community of support where you can do business with other women, I would love to see you in her C-suite in our Entrepreneur Mastermind. We are helping women grow businesses and land board roles, as well as figure out what's next and more. Check it all out at hercsuite.com. Remember, keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.